Good morning, good morning, good morning, wherever you are in the world. I have to apologize because yesterday, me and Kamoy Night for Your Inner Voice, we're going to go on and talk about shadow work, but I got caught up in somewhat of an emergency. And so we're going to take that back up next week. Um, we'll set the time and you'll see it. However, we're going to look at Ruth, the first chapter this morning because I want to speak to the women. Um, and if there's a man or men out there that hear this here and they need to take it, then take it because it's not, by uh, being partial or anything. I just think it's time for mature women to actually stand up and begin to minister to the younger women concerning issues. And it would come from Ruth, first chapter. The men have their own portion, and with the idea of mature women coming into play, what we want to set the tone is that maturity is not just a physical look; it's a mental, spiritual look. That means that I don't dress up maturely. I act a part because I have went through situations that would mature me, and there's no more playing life, but I am life, and I'm a life giver. I understand what I do and what I've done and how I've done it, such as maturity and having children. Because we've had children, a lot of people believe that we are mature. They even feel grown because they've had that sexual encounter. What you feel is not always the truth because you may not have, grown in all areas to get there. So if I feel mature, but I don't act mature, you know what I'm saying, baby, and JJ, when I'm giving baby over to daddy and daddy is taking it, and there's arguments and conflicts, there's a need for each of us to look at how we present ourselves. And men and women both are coming with conflict because they have not had mature leaders. There's been, in some households, no parenting. There's been parents there, but they've been absent. And the absence of a parent means that you beget the absence of a parent. So here, I want to go into Ruth 1 so we can look at what happened with Naomi and her daughter, Ruth, her daughter-in-law, who took her as a mother. Um, let's go there. And so Naomi's children had died. Her husband died. This was a grievous situation. It goes deep. But anyway, I want to start at verse 9. And Naomi said to her daughters in law, go return each of you to your mother's house. The Lord deal kindly with you as you have dealt with the dead and with me. The Lord grant you that you may find rest, each of you in the house of your husband. Then she kissed them, and they lifted up their voice and they wept. And they said to her, surely we will return with thee unto thy people. Naomi said, turn again, my daughters. Why will you go with me? And are there yet any sons in my womb? So she's asking, do you see any more children coming from me? And so that they may be your husbands. It's a question. You look at that and read it. Turn again, my daughters, go your way, for I am too old to have a husband. So in this here traditional thinking at this time, this woman thought because her husband and her sons had died that her daughter-in-law should go back to the land that they came from. But there was one that said, no, we're going to break some tradition, because this was kind of like a tradition for them, that daughters would go back to their homes. And I'm sure that it's kind of like the same with us, because if we have situations that happen in our homes, if we're married or whatnot, then we will leave and go back home if we're able to do that, or we will recreate a new life, right? So she said, turn again, my daughters, go your way, for I am too old to have a husband. If I should say I have hope, if I should have a husband also tonight, and should be also bear son. Would you tarry for them? She asked them. And it was a question mark. So anyway, getting on to 14, and they lifted up their voice and wept again. And Oprah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clave to her. See, this was a wonderful mother-in-law, because a lot of us are like saying, mother-in-law, let me get away from her, because the mother-in-law is not caring for the daughter-in-law like she does her sons. But this woman has showed them something, because they're weeping not only because they've lost their husbands, but because she's sending them away. There's emotions there, right? So here's Ruth cleaving to her. And Ruth is the one that really gets you to the place of understanding that there's something so much more when you come in contact with a woman that is mature, or the mature energy of a woman, because this mother-in-law had given them so much more that Ruth said, entreat me not to leave you, or to return from following after thee. For whether thou goest, I will go, and where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people. So she had learned something from Naomi, and received something that she wasn't turning back, regardless if the husband that she had been married to had died. She wasn't going back. She was going into the future with her mother-in-law, who had evidently given her something. Now you can go and read it, but what I want to kind of like hang our hats on is the mature woman. Whether you're married or not, whatever the situation is, your growth and expectation of life is what's going to get you the blessing. The blessing is going to be in the way that you demonstrate yourself, the way that you present yourself. No man wants a woman that is needy, clingy, and codependent. I'm just going to put it out there because I felt it. This is a time when women are really feeling who they are, but you're not feeling it from the outside. A man cannot give you what you need in success. If you feel like you want something out of life, you got to go out there and get it. He can't do it. What women want from men is emotional intelligence. They want emotional connection. That's another story on the men's behalf that, yeah, we can talk about it. And on Sundays, me and my girls, we discuss these things, not bashing them, but we want to let them know your boys can talk with you about a lot of things, but they can't tell you how to keep me. You understand, especially when you really want me, but you running because you feel like I'm too much. Maybe you lowered your standard because you just don't want to put in the work. But that's what life is about. Anything worth having means you're going to work for it. So when we look at the time, when I got up and I'm thinking about my own message for myself, I heard it's a time of rest for you, because when you have given to everyone, there's a time when you got to understand there's a rest for you, so that you can recalibrate women and men. To teaching on how to be a woman, you email me at ifwbuilders@gmail.com, and you will get an invitation to our leadership program or coaching. But moving on from there, to be a woman means that you have went through life and experienced hardships. Many of us have. But we picked ourselves up by the bootstraps and we said, I will not let this defeat me. Many of us said it, but we were walking still yet in the defeat. Overcoming defeat means that I open up my Bible, whatever my spiritual foundation is, and I begin to look at it and work with it. How did the women overcome? Ruth, Esther. A lot of them had to be quiet until the time came. Now, I'm not telling you to shut up if you're going through domestic violence or anything like that. I'm telling you that if you have been fighting with baby, when you're giving the baby to him, seize the moment to change your response. Seize the moment to change it within, because that's where your change is going to begin. Anyone that has been talking about them leading a Christian life is going to cease with conflict and begin to go within and look at themselves so that they can present a positive self, present a happy self, a joyful self, and then understand that once you go within, you know that you don't have to be mad at baby when you're giving them the baby, because your self-confidence is rising. Everything that you do within is what's going to come out. Most people that are fighting in relationships They're fighting outside because they're empty inside of them. They're also trying to make a point. Sometimes you cannot make a point with the person. When I look at Naomi and I look at Ruth, so Ruth went on with Naomi. And in the end of the chapter of Ruth, you can go ahead and look at the end because there's a beginning of something new that can be heartfelt and break your heart, but it's new. You got to look and observe everything that's going on. If they walked away from you, if they left you with everything on you and you are the burden bearer, you can too overcome it. But God is the way, because your burdens speaking out of your heart is not going to get you anything. Your burdens being released and given to God is what's going to get you everything, because that's the burden bearer. I mean, that's what I know for those who want to listen to the way, because I've been there. I've done that. You're in debt over your head, been there, done that. But God will make a way. Am I just saying it as a cliche? No, I've seen the miracles. I've seen debt wiped out. I've seen people come and pay $50,000 worth of bills for me. They know who I'm talking about if they sneak on my channel and listen. I thank you. And I tell everybody about you. Why? Because you've been everything to me, but you've been, in another instance, something that taught me, right? So I am grateful. Moving on from there, there's nothing that you cannot be. Let me say this again. There's nothing in the world that you cannot be if you put effort to it. People are saying what they cannot do and what they cannot be. You can do anything. You can be anything. It's the mature woman that's going to lead you. I talked to the leadership program. I have some wonderful women that speak every week, by the way, in that leadership program. Leadership for business, but you can't lead even your children and a family without leadership. Pure leadership from the heart is knowing how to stand and walk through the storms of life. People that have experienced storms, and they give you the information. They even teach you how to think. People that have had chaos in their life, teaching you how to overcome. The days of an older, mature woman, which I've experienced when I was in church, I looked at church to be everything for me. And it was, because it taught me what I would not receive from people and what I had to get for myself, which is good. When I look to a mature woman, I expect for them to give me wisdom. All right. When I didn't receive that at times, I said, okay, let me take my notes, because this is not what I want to be. I want to be a mature woman that is giving something to people that's going to build their life and make them better. It's too many people out in the street, tore down, wore down, and broken because no one supports them and no one believes them. No one believes in what they're capable of. They've been overlooked. Can I tell you that you can turn the page today and start rewriting? Under the tutelage of a mature woman, you might run because it is a foreign idea of what you're experiencing when people are trying to help you and give you things. But that's because you were used to people taking from you. When you realize, like I have done, I did that in a season. I raised my children. I've been married, all of that stuff. I've given, not a victim, but the victory for me was to wake up and realize now I can do life for me. The victory is that I could reshape my life. I could mold it and make it my way, no matter what anybody said. This is not anything that has to do with ego. It's the truth. I and my Father are one. Me and God are co-creators. No matter how a person sees it from the beginning, the message is speaking to you when you read the Bible. In the beginning, God created. It's speaking to you. It's not speaking to everyone else. So many people have went and gave the Bible, the scripture, and said, this is for you. No, this book that you have, that Bible, it is for you. The word that I gave you today concerning the mature woman is for you. People don't want to be in conflict, yet they give out that energy, right? You got to think about it. And it's not like, well, what she did or what he did. It's how you presenting yourself. It's what you're looking at concerning yourself. Because this is the thing with the illusion of life. We've been taught to look at each other, to fault each other, to blame each other, to fight each other. Even the drug dealer, the illusion that I give you the drug, you pay me, and it's a done deal. All of this is an illusion because, number one, a drug dealer, I'm giving you drugs. For what? Because you can't handle your existence? Here is mature women telling you, you don't need no drug. That's codependency. Just like a man, I need to wake up with a man every morning. No, I don't. Now, for those that do, good. But the reason why you're there is because maybe you didn't hear somebody tell you that you don't need that. What you need is to know that you are whole within yourself so that you can attract the divine masculine that meets you healthy and whole. You don't have to go through all of that mess no more. Do you feel what I'm saying? Because evidently, Ruth taught her daughter-in-laws very well. Her husband may have been a good man that taught his sons very well. All of them died, right? So the death brought an ending. New season is here. You got to rest in the new season because when something leaves your life, you need to take rest so you can assess and calculate what has happened, what part you played, and what you will do now because you have a part that you played in this here life. No matter what problems baby and you had at the office, wherever the problem is, the ending is a time for you to reassess and to begin with mature thinking on where I'm going now. It's not the time for you to let go and say that life will never ever be what I want it to be. Of course, if you say that, that's what it's going to be because that's what you believe. But you see, the mature woman, such as Ruth, had been telling these young women something. The other ones went on and they heard what she said and they left. But this one young woman said, no, I will not go. Where you go, I will go. She had been a mother to her. And wherever your people are, I will be with them. Your people will be my people. This is family. This woman gave this young woman something. Now, when you go on and you look at Ruth 4, you could do that because even in the beginning of Ruth 1, the idea that is showing up there is that Naomi is going back to her land, Moab. They have a kinsman there called Boaz, and he's a wealthy man. Anyway, at the end of chapter 4, because Ruth desired to follow, she got the wealthy man. I mean, yes, Ruth, she followed Naomi. She got the wealthy man. Now, when I look at wealthy, I don't look at just money. I look at prosperity in that. I look at emotional intelligence, where the man is able to give that emotion. You know what I'm saying? It's a package. Wealth is a package. Wealth is not like, okay, I'm financially set. Okay. Can your money only, if it's just your money and your finances, can it buy you emotional stability? Can it buy you health and wellness? If you got a death sentence, could your money take care of that? See, at the end of the chapter, what Ruth received was a Boaz who had wealth, which meant that he knew how to treat his wife. Now we could switch it around because there's some women that don't know how to treat their husbands. But this man had wealth, which means that he knew how to treat this woman. So that woman had experienced a death, and she had chose to go on with her mother-in-law to her land. And because she did, she experienced something, stepping out on faith, that she had never experienced before. Now, maybe her husband prior had given her some things, right, that she could think about, and she loved him, and she loved her mother-in-law. But baby, when you read the story and a mature woman is telling you about the story, at the end, there was a Boaz there. Wealth is about somebody that knows how to connect with their other half and not fear giving them what they need emotionally, mentally, and physically. This is a subject that is so hard to speak on because I believe in the whole family. It's been so much separation in our families that, it's hard to get that message across where no one is offended. But someone broke trust and a death came. This is not just only because the story says that her husband died. Man, you think about it from your perspective. Her husband died. Someone is saying, well, my husband ain't died. You could have been divorced, or you might be in a separation, or you might be like Bebe now, fighting. That's death. Why is it death? Because the relationship is not moving forward. There's no production there. There is a famine in the relationship. When you get wealthy, or start thinking wealthy, you let go of death and things that kill, such as words, people that hurt you. You let them go. You don't have to fight them. You don't even have to fight somebody for child support, by the way, because if you put yourself in worship and you begin to talk to God, I'm telling you, women and men, because men is in the same situation with women. It's some hard-headed women out there. How I know? Because I've been one. I didn't fight him, but honey, in my mind I did. Thank God for the change, right? But moving on, it's all about your heart. And it's all about a mature woman that can tell you, don't fight. Let people be who they are, because you cannot change someone that is toxic. What you can remember is that you engaged with toxicity because you had that toxin. And when the death came between you and someone, something, whatever situation you're going through, the death was sitting there to say, you can rise again if you choose differently, because I'm purging you of this. It's not just that the story has to resonate because your husband or wife died. It could be a death and a rebirthing between you and your husband, you and your boyfriend. It really could. But you have to find the way for yourself from within to start working on yourself. I work with so many people that are interested in outside situations. How I'm going to get this. I'm going to say this here. I'm on Instagram. And I had people that have put their quote for spell work in my Instagram, description or comments. Don't put that there. You know why? The only spell there is God. That's it. The spell is prayer, because whenever you try to conjure up something to get someone to you, man, that stuff gonna turn around and backfire you. Nature has a way of turning things back the way that it wants it to be. That's why trees grow the way that they do. That's why children and people, we're born the way that we do. It's a natural process. It is not natural to tamper with things in life that God said, this is how it goes. It's not natural. So here, I'm going to move on from there. Remember that a mature woman can help you see the way to your Boaz, because she's going to tell you what you should do and what you shouldn't do, such as Ruth. She's not going to tell you to depend on her, but she's going to tell you to go to God. Whatever your business dealings, a businesswoman, a wise woman, mature woman is going to tell you to go to God. Whatever hurt and pain that you got, a wise woman, mature, seasoned, that's been through things, baby, they're going to tell you to go to God. They're not going to tell you to keep conflict stirred up. They're going to tell you to go to God. Why? Because the answer for you is in the spirit. It's in the spirit. It's not in no one else. It's not in him. It's not in her. Sometimes you're having a conflict with the individual because you needed to think about you. You needed to think about yourself. You may have been giving everything. You know what I'm saying? And you keep giving because you've seen that paradigm. When you pull back your energy, you got it to yourself. You ain't drained no more. You ain't physically challenged no more, because you took back something that belongs to you, and possibly the person didn't appreciate that they had that energy or you in their life. When you take it back, you begin to feel better about yourself. Why? Because you begin to see that sometimes it wasn't even you, it was them. They were needy. They were codependent. They needed you in their life because you had that beautiful energy, that brilliant light in you that they were absorbing. Be mindful of who you cultivate yourself with, because you could turn around and find yourself feeling like someone else and not knowing that it's not you that feels like dung. All right? So here, let's do our affirmation for today. And think about the mature woman that tried to tell you not to struggle, not to fight, not to add words to a controversy. You see, conflict and controversies, they stay in the atmosphere. They actually will take away from you. I've seen so many things where people have used their negative vices on others to try to tear them down. Let them tear you down in their own mind, but you keep working and stay away from them mentally, physically, and spiritually so that you can build yourself up. There is that sowing and reaping thing. You know what I'm saying? And everyone has to reap whatever they sow because you're planting a garden. Someone that sold you out, they sold you out because you needed to understand who they were. But they will also understand who they are through the principles of the universe. You reap whatever you sow. All right. So gratitude. We thank God for conversations that are building, building up women and men, building up our children and our posterity, understand what wealth is and understanding what finances is. I got a lot of money, but over here I got wealth. I'm prosperous. So different. Look it up and define it. I am grateful that someone in my life led me to the word of God. I was able to read it and build myself up and then carry on that posterity and give it to other women and men, right? This is it, gratitude. So today I count my many blessings. I count them, that I can come on here and know that my experiences matter so much that they afforded me conversation that I can give to others and tell them, you can make it, baby, but you will make it when you get in the comfort of yourself and you and your God meet. And the other thing is when you connect with wise women and men that show you to a evolutional state of who you are. You are no more the same. You're crying and weeping over something that's dead and gone, right? Well, once you clear yourself of that, the next thing is that something new is coming, but you got to sit down in time with yourself and realize what you've been giving, if it was good or bad, what you had not been giving. All of this matters because now you're assessing yourself and saying, this happened for a reason. What do I do now? There's a death that's taking place in this relationship, in my employment, in whatever area of your life. But how do I bring resurrection? And God will show you the way because He might add some things to your life that you never ever dreamed of after you start dreaming again. You know what I'm saying? After you start feeling good about yourself again. But how can you feel good about yourself if you never sit down and assess that you did this and you did that? What are the pros and cons? What advanced you prior? What kept you held back? Because so many people, they blame other people and say, oh, you're holding me back. I'm not doing nothing. You're holding yourself back. Fly like an eagle, right? Because I am. I've learned the game of life. I'm playing. Let's play together. Or you play on another side of the street and I'm going to stay on mine. You understand? When they play soccer, they come together and engage competition, right? But after that, they celebrate each other and they go on their way. What kind of player are you? And I mean, in life, in game, what are you playing? Are you just self-centered that it has to just be about you? We got all different kind of dynamics of people, and that's fine. But understand, if you're selfish, you're going to get selfish outcomes. It may not feel good, but that's how it is, right? So you guys be blessed and find, if if you're going through something really hard, find blessings because they're there. Your blessings and your emotions connected to your blessings, thank you, are going to take you into heightened states because you want to lift up your vibration. You want to get yourself out of that old feeling. You want to look at life and say, okay, this has passed away, but the new is here. what do I do? Where's the new? I can't see it. Well, you got to start asking yourself, and God, help me to see the picture of new. What am I creating? What is my mission? And then you'll begin to create from that part of who you are. And so we're going to call it a day here. And I will see you guys Monday. We do have something, giving them something to talk about at 3:30 on Sunday. It will be on Facebook and YouTube. And so you guys be blessed. Thank you for tuning in. And if you need any coaching, PTSD class is still going on. Contact me at IFW Builders. Learn about that transference of spirit, because that's what I was talking about in here. She received from her mother-in-law a new way of thinking. Let's go with the new way. Blessings.